What's up, guys? Welcome back for episode 10. If you're just joining in, last episode I finished making the custom pickguard and brass plate as well as inlaying my signature. In this episode, come with me as I get the guitar prepped and add the finish as well as make the bone nut from scratch. I wanted to mention that I'm not sponsored in any way and these videos don't include any paid promotion. All the tools I purchased myself and I use them because I like using them. I figured that you would want to know which tools I'm using in case you wanted to use them yourself. Also, I'm still newer at this. I'm learning things every day, and I'm not the world's best guitar builder. So if you have any tips or tricks, or if you have a better method for a process that I'm doing, leave a comment below because I would love to keep learning and I want to hear what you guys have to say. So sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and enjoy the show. When getting the guitar ready for finishing, sanding is probably one of the most crucial steps, and you want to make sure to get out any large scratches or dents before moving up through the finer grits. So once I made sure any of the larger imperfections were gone, I started moving up from around 60 or 80 grit, and I finished at 320, making sure that I was sanding with the grain. Today was a day. Lots of just sanding, getting everything ready for finish. After talking about finishes, we were going to paint it white, and after he saw it all together and threw some mineral spirits on there, he really liked the wood, which so did I. So I'm glad we're going with the natural wood. It just, wood's pretty. He doesn't like high gloss, and that's totally fine. This is his guitar, so we can finish it how he wants. And then I'm gonna do a coat of the boiled linseed oil on both the body and the neck. And then after that, probably do 3 to 4 coats of this hard wax oil finish. It's satin. Goes on, it gives a little bit layer of protection, but it's not a tabletop. He's not throwing it around, and honestly, he's fine with it. That's what he wanted, so I'm gonna make it happen. We're making good progress, and yeah, I'm excited to finish this one up, so cool. Alright, so today I'm not at the shop. I brought everything home because it's a nice long weekend and I don't need to be at the shop and I can finish all this stuff here. So I experimented with some water-based dyes that I had from Stewmac, and I tested it, and I'm going with 1/4 cup of water with 5 drops of my medium brown. Just to darken it up a little bit, I'll do one nice even coat of that all over. I'll probably tape up the fretboard edge a little bit just for safe measure, but I'm gonna take my time. Then I'm going to put boiled linseed oil, 1 coat on the body. Once the neck dries, probably in a day, then I'll put the boiled linseed on the neck as well. Then I'll let both those dry for 24-48 hours before I start the hard wax coat. And yeah, I'm just gonna do it right here in my living room, and hopefully my girlfriend doesn't kill me. So cool, can do it. So the whole reason we ended up dyeing the neck with just a little bit of brown was because the neck had this natural white tone, and just adding the boiled linseed oil kind of gave it this yellowish tone. The brown really brought out a warmth and a little bit of red tone that would really complement the red from the cherry body. One thing I just realized I forgot to do was raise the grain after finish sanding. So as I was dyeing the neck, I noticed a little bit of fuzziness sticking up. I was like, oh, duh, I need to sand it. And all I'll do is take that 320, go back over it really lightly, and if I need to apply more stain, you know, I can do it really lightly. So I'm gonna raise the grain on the body right now, and then I'll let it sit for, I don't know, a couple minutes, and then, yeah, and then we'll get ready for linseed oil, so. Alright, so I let the oil dry for about 5 days. I didn't really have time until now to put on the hard wax finish. So I'm going to wipe it down. I've got tack cloth that I'm going to wipe it down with just to get as much of, I don't know, dust or anything off. Then I will stir up and wipe in the hard wax finish and put on a couple coats, and yeah, so. Here it is hanging to dry. I mean, it doesn't really need to hang to dry, but whatever. 4 to 6 hours, I'll put another coat on. Alright, so it's been probably 6.5, 7 hours, and yeah, I'm gonna put a second coat on, and I put gloves on this time because my hands were covered in waxy goo, and it was just annoying to get off, so. So I just put on that second coat, and after letting it dry, it just felt like there was a little bit of gristle. You know, it doesn't necessarily need sanding, but I had finished sanded both of these to 320. So I just took a little bit of 320, went over it lightly, and then also took a little bit of 400. Again, just went over it lightly. It feels really nice, so I'll plan on putting on 2 more coats, but I really want it to be nice and smooth. So, you know, it wasn't a crazy amount of sanding, just a light. So, all right. Also, I don't want to give off the impression that I know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. I don't, yeah. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I'm really lame. I know. Alright, let's wipe her down. Ladies and gents, I finished the 4th coat of the wax and let it dry for, I don't know, maybe maybe 48 hours. Didn't need to, but I also wasn't needing to rush to get it done. So I am going to peel the tape off this, see what kind of seeped onto the fretboard, see if I can clean it up, and just kind of prep the wood. I think I'm gonna lightly go over it with maybe 320 and 400, a couple swipes, and then wipe it. So, cool. Just a little bit of spots here, you know, but I mean, looks great. It's almost there. So next I wanted to start getting the electronics ready, and I drilled the holes for the input jack, and then I started to line the cavities with copper tape. This is referred to as shielding, and this reduces any additional noise or feedback that the pickups would essentially pick up. So I already used my notch straight edge to look and see if the neck needed adjusted at all before I put the masking tape on, but I didn't film it. So anyway, it's good. The neck was pretty straight and the truss rod didn't need any adjustments. So now I'm gonna use my long beam to sand the frets, get them all even. So I don't think this will need much. So I'm just gonna Sharpie on all of them. Looks pretty good. As I do this, you might say like, ooh, if I push down, you could get some flex and some bowing out of the neck. Well, I'm not pushing down that hard. I'm letting the sanding beam do all the work. So, all right, let's load this up with some tape. So, sanding the frets and getting them all even, basically, I was doing what's called fret leveling. Getting all the frets to the same height gives a consistent action. So distance from the strings to the frets. That way playing is much nicer. So now at the 14th fret, I added some tape and then sanded what's called fall away and level at an angle. And this gives some extra room at the higher fret so that there's no fret buzzing. Then once all the frets were leveled, I could start the crowning process. So basically adding the round curve back to the frets. Alright, so what I did here was just try some things out. I have these fret erasers from Stewmac that go from 220 to 800. And I was just experimenting. I have a couple different methods of polishing these frets. I've got these fret erasers, I've got the Dremel with the polishing wheel, but I also have these polishing pads. So I wanted to see which method was the best. So there were some scratches, and I just started with some 120 sandpaper because I started using the 220 grit and I still saw some scratches. So I went over all four of these frets with 120. Then on the 21st fret, I only used the fret erasers up to the 8000. So that's this guy. Then I wanted to test what polishing would be on top of this. So using the fret erasers and polishing with the Dremel, that would be this guy. It's much shinier than that one, but there's still some scratches. Then I wanted to test just what sanding to 220 and then polishing would look like, and it looks like shit. And then this last fret I polished to 1200 with the eraser because my polishing pads start at 15. because my polishing pads start at 1500, and then I took the polishing pad up all the way to the 12,000, and that would be this guy, and he looks the best. So I'm gonna use that method. Erasers, polishing pad, and these are all gonna be pretty. Slight update. So on this fret, I wanted to test if I polish it by hand with my polishing pads, and then on top of it, if I used the Dremel polishing wheel. I used the polishing pads on the whole fret, and then just on this half, I also used the Dremel polishing wheel. And I think that's all I'm gonna do. Polish all these by hand, and then go back over them very quickly, very lightly with the Dremel polishing wheel, because it just cleaned it up perfectly. So that's what I'm gonna do. I really enjoy putting in this level of detail because it really sets my builds apart from something that you can just buy from any guitar store. I really like the more that you look at the instrument, the more details you'll notice. And it really goes to show on the fretwork. I really pride myself in the attention to the small, intricate things that might take a while. And I want those small details to inspire somebody to create music that's inspiring to others. So now I'm starting to make the nut, which is a really delicate and intricate process that you need to just look at taking it one step at a time and not rushing through. There's little room for error, and there's a lot of finesse that comes to making a nut. But to put it simply, you just need to take your time. As you can see here, there's some fine lines that I'm trying to follow and make sure that I don't go past, so that I can create a nut that has the right height and gives the guitar the correct action that I'm looking for. Once the nut is kind of at a rough shape, I can start appropriately spacing the strings. And I start all of the strings with the smallest file I have. Once I have that slot started, then I will move up to the appropriate nut file size. I've already got my slots started with the smallest gauge file, so now I'm just going to use my feeler gauges. Complicated math, not really, maybe I'll explain it later, but basically I found the height I need to go to. Now when I put my feeler gauge on, I am going to use that as a guard so I don't go too low, and then that'll be that. Let's do it. nut slotting process is kind of like cutting hair. You can always take off more, but the second you take off too much, it's hard to put hair back on a head. There is a process for doing it, but I would rather take my time and do it right in the first place. Once all the slots are filed to the correct depth that I'm looking for, I do the final shaping process, which just takes some additional filing, and then I buff it to get it nice and shiny. And then when I go to glue it in, I just add a couple drops of wood glue to just keep it in place. Well, we're getting really close, guys. I can almost taste it. Yes, I added the finish in my apartment, and my girlfriend absolutely loved that I hung the guitar in our bathroom doorway. Not. In the next episode, we're gonna get the electronics wired up and do the final setup on the guitar. If you're enjoying the show, comment, like, subscribe, do all the things. If you want to see more of the guitars that I'm building, down below in the description is a link to my Instagram. If you're interested in building your dream guitar, shoot me an email and we can set up a consultation, and maybe your guitar could be on the YouTube channel. I hope this video motivates you to build, create, do something outside your comfort zone. I know if I can build a custom guitar from scratch, that you can do pretty much anything you set your mind to. You just can't be afraid to make mistakes, because mistakes are gonna happen, but it's all about how you fix them. With that being said, guys, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace. All right, let's do it. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back for episode 10. Cool. Oh, hello. So today was a pretty long day. No, it wasn't. I was just lazy. Today was, is that a scratch? Are you f***ing kidding me? Okay, that's annoying. That was it. It was drying. That's why I went outside. Quit saying so, and let it oh, God.